You ran faster than someone sitting at home is such a loser way to think. And I'll go as far as to say that I believe it's one of the key reasons why life sucks so much right now. I'll also say that I genuinely recognize that when people say this, they're trying to be positive, and it does come across as a very kind thing to say. And it actually kind of is. I'm not even going to deny that, especially when you see the experience that heavier people go through sometimes by exercising. It's better than saying negative or derogatory statements to someone who's just trying their best. What I am trying to essentially explain, however, is that this type of thinking is not conducive to positive outcomes in the long term. Because fundamentally, where are we as a society when it's normalized to create imaginary people to compare ourselves against? And I want to talk about this. My main question is, why does effort really need an opponent? And maybe it's Strava and it's all of the social media, but why does your achievement only count when you compare it against others or when you outrank someone else? Now, as I said before, this video isn't about being ungrateful, but it's about how this mindset can subtly train you to measure your worth through comparison. We already do this so much due to social media. And honestly, when you look at the rates of depression and anxiety, it's very dangerous. And this is true for everyone, but especially when you're neurodivergent. Now, I am not a psychologist, but I do believe that there's this psychological thing called downward comparison. And correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below, but it's where you compare yourself to someone doing worse to feel better. Honestly, it's quick dopamine, and I'm just speaking about this from the ADHD point of view. But here's how it normally goes. I ran slow, but someone else didn't run. Therefore, I win in some way, shape, or form. But tell me, with this mentality, what happens when someone runs faster than you? What happens when someone is leaner than you? Someone improves more quickly than you. Is that grammatically correct? Forgive me. If your confidence is built on being above someone, it will collapse when you're below someone. That's fragile motivation. And a lot of us, me included, because I was guilty of this, we built our entire self worth on this principle. I now want to talk about status framing. Because again, when we use this statement, you ran faster than someone who sat at home, we turn exercise, running, achieving things into hierarchy. So you're not just exercising in this case, you're not just running, you're ranking. And when you have to understand that when you rank things, you create winners, losers, and spectators. But running, especially when you're heavy, injured, or just starting out, isn't about status. I think it's about courage. Because if you're 120 kilos, 130 kilos, 110 kilos, and you run, it's not a ranking event. The accomplishment is embodied in the fact that you got up and you ran. That's really cool. In this way, I think you just getting up and getting out there insist upon itself. Oh, that sounds so cringy to say, but fundamentally, you don't need an imaginary couch person to justify it. No, we're going to get a bit deeper here because this mindset, you're faster than someone who sat down at home, says to me, or how I also interpret it, is your effort only counts if it beats someone. And honestly, that's external validation logic. And when you think like this, what you're saying fundamentally is that your worth is relative. Your achievements is comparative, and whatever you do, whatever you value must be measured against someone else. It's more, I'm running because I'm building confidence within myself. It's, I show up and I run even when it's difficult or embarrassing because that's who I am to myself. And honestly, that's such a cool mentality in of itself. And when you think like this, no audience is required. Now, this is where I want to tie this into neurodiversity. And you might ask, what the hell does this have to do with neurodiversity? But I'll say, when you grow up neurodivergent, you've likely heard, why can't you focus? Other kids can do this because you are constantly being compared to neurotypical individuals. As a neurodivergent black man, I feel like comparison has been trauma coded into my DNA. Because when you're constantly measured against your family members who may have achieved better grades, your classmates, your friends. When you constantly do this, it becomes your inner critic. And that same inner critic is the voice inside your head as a neurodiverse person that says, you're falling behind, you're not enough, and you're failing. So when someone says, you're faster than someone who sat on the couch, what do you think that tells the inner critic? If anything, it adds even more fuel to that fire. And now you're just giving your brain the reason to say, if I fall below someone, if I'm running really slow and some super fit person who's been running for the last 20 years runs past me quite easily, I am worthless. Now, this isn't your fault. This isn't the way that we were built. This isn't how we're supposed to think of ourselves in relation to others. But when this mindset doesn't encourage healing. So yeah, that's why I feel that that statement, you're faster than someone who sat on their couch today, is a loser mentality. Not because I believe that people who sat at home are losers. You don't know the reason why people stay at home. But because you don't need to make someone up or imagine people to make yourself feel better. That's not healthy. We use this word narcissist and we throw it around really easily. But the reality is, if you need people to be below you so you can feel proud about yourself, I'm not saying that you're a narcissist, obviously not. What I am saying is that's not a good tendency. That's not a healthy way to move through life. What I'm also trying to say is that if you, as a heavier person, went from struggling to run for 30 seconds to a minute, and you're now running a 5K straight, I'll be damned about the time that it took you to get there. You should be proud of yourself because of what you accomplished. You showed up, you ran, you exercised, you went to the gym when your body just doesn't feel right for that. On the days where you felt like you couldn't do it, you'd still persevered and you did it. You should be very proud of that. Hold your head high. That's an accomplishment within itself. And you see, there's no imagination required. If you've watched this entire video, thank you. Check out some of my other videos, maybe. I don't know.